If that new year, new you energy has sort of fizzled for you, or if you just want a do-over and some refreshing energy, well, today is for you. We're coming up on the first day of February, and that's a day in Irish called Lá le Bríde or Lá le Bríde, which is the day of the festival of Brigid. And that day in the Irish traditional calendar is considered to be the first day of spring. I see Brigid as a great friend to us in beginnings, in thresholds, in starting again. And today I want to share with you a beautiful custom that is associated with her festival, takes place the night before, as well as a really good story about why Brigid's Day takes place on the first day of February rather than another time. So, fáilte a chairde, welcome my friends. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Kate. I'm a professor of Irish language and folklore, and I'm also, like everyone here, a multi-passionate creator. I love making things, and I know you do too. So today I want to talk to you about Brigid, and I was nearly overwhelmed. I've been a big fan, I'll be honest, of Saint Brigid, Brigid, saint and goddess. It's complicated, and there's so much in this field to look at. But I decided, as our first introduction to Brigid here on this channel, that I wanted to just bring you into a traditional Irish farmhouse in, say, 1850. And what did people do? How did they feel about Brigid? I will say the relationship between Irish people and the saints is not one of distance and sort of cool veneration. It's one in which the saints are in the house with you, helping you with regular household tasks and chores, and keeping you company and making you feel less alone. So on the night before Brigid's festival day, so as I say, the 1st of February, so the last night of January, here is what some people practiced, and in Irish it's called gras na tarshi, the custom of the threshold. So sometime in that afternoon, the man of the house would wrap a bundle of straw in perhaps an old shawl or a scarf or a piece of cloth, and he would leave it on the doorstep of the back door. Now, traditionally, that back door was rarely opened. So he would leave it there. Then at around nightfall, he would go around to the back of the house and he would pick that up. And he would call into the house to the people, all of the people in the house. And this is what he would say. Goagi warnguna, osklagi warsula, agus ligigi isteach bríd. Goagi warnguna, go down on your knees. Osklagi warsula, open your eyes. Agus ligigi isteach bríd, and let in Brigid. And at that time, he would open the door and stand in the door, and everybody seeing him with that bundle of rushes would say, She baha, she baha, she baha. Welcome, welcome, welcome. She baha gaslancha. Welcome and a health. And he would come in and bring those rushes into the house. And then they would sit down and have supper, their evening meal. The important thing about that evening meal is that it included butter. In fact, I want to share with you a traditional rhyme. Iche hauna gan bia, iche nalig mor gan aran, iche le bríde gan is shishin and garantin. So Halloween without food, Christmas night without bread, St. Brigid's Eve without butter. That is a terrible sore complaint. Meaning, on St. Brigid's Eve, it is time to have butter. So whatever you had, and brúidín, which is sort of mashed potatoes, would have been traditional, as well as barim brack, which is literally speckled loaf, a loaf with currants, and well buttered. It's not a night to, again, to be watching your calories. It's a night to enjoy the butter. And of course, that coincides well with what my early folklore teacher told me about St. Brigid's the season of St. Brigid's, he said that it is the feast of ewe lactation. That's EWE, as in mama sheeps. That they are coming into their milk at this time. So there's a sense that there is milk going around. Anyway, after that bringing in of the rushes, they would spend the evening doing things like weaving St. Brigid's crosses. And I just wanted to show you one. This is one that comes from, it was made by hand, and you can see like it's kind of coming apart. I've had it for many years, but I treasure it. This was made by a woman outside of Dublin, made of real rush. Just to say, I make them every year, and mine are made of what we used to call pipe cleaners in the old days, but which are now, I believe, called furry sticks or fuzzy sticks. Anyway, a lovely thing to make a cross. Now, those crosses were hung up in the rafters on the next day. So they spent the evening making crosses, among other things, and the next day they would hang them up in the rafters. And some people say that you could count the age of a house by how many crosses you found, Brigid crosses you found in the rafters. There was a belief that those crosses would protect the house and all its inhabitants, especially from fire and lightning. So all of that is going on. I did want to give you one of their prayers that they would say as they had their supper, and it's this: Avrij Valnahi go good to intaksha har anachan na bliana. Oh, Blessed Brigid, please may you protect this house from misfortune throughout the year. So the evening is lovely, having this wonderful supper, a buttery supper, bringing in the rushes, making the Brigid's crosses, and also in some places, and a lot of people would bring a piece of cloth and hang it on the shkach, the bush or a tree just outside the door. This is mine from last year, and in the morning, the idea was that Brigid comes around in the night and blesses the cloth, and in the morning you would have this cloth that could actually be for healing and comfort throughout the year. In some places they would cut up the cloth to share with neighbors or family members. Some people used that cloth if they had a headache, for instance. They would just lay the cloth on their brow, or a heartache, heart trouble, put the cloth in over your heart. I often just put the cloth under my pillow, just for the comfort of feeling like I'm in touch with St. Brigid, who is wonderful. Now, let me tell you a story that people also might have told that night. Now, you might not know this, but in the old days, of course, Brigid, Mary, Jesus, they all lived in Ireland. Maybe you guessed that already. And maybe it won't surprise you to find out that Brigid and Mary were best friends, BFFs. Well, back in the old days, there was the custom after a woman gave birth that she had to be churched, meaning that she had to be brought back into the church a set time after she had had her baby and be kind of purified so that she was welcome back in church. And that day was coming for Mary, mother of Jesus, and she was terrified. Oh, she said, Brigid, I can't bear to have people looking at me. I just hate all the attention. And Brigid, as she so often did, said, don't worry, Mary, I'll take care of that. And so they were heading to church, and it's the 1st of February, and they're just beginning to prepare the fields for planting. And she looks out into one of the fields and she sees a harrow. And a harrow is kind of like a rake that you use to break up the wintry ground to make it ready for the seed. And she took the harrow and she took all the tines out of it, like the teeth, and she replaced them with candles. And she lit them and she tied it to her head. And she said, let me go in there first, Mary, and you come on in after. And so that's what she did. She walked into the church and she said, hello, everyone. Hello, it's me, Brigid. And everybody turned around and they thought she was crazy, really, walking into church with a harrow lit up. And meanwhile, Mary, very grateful, just slipped into the back row and nobody paid her any attention. And so when the Mass was over, Brigid came to Mary and she said, you know, Mary came to Brigid and she said, you know, you really are a good friend, really the best friend I could hope for. And what you did for me today really helped me. And I want to give you a present for that. So my feast day, Mary is saying this, is on the 2nd day of February, Candlemas, the feast of Mary. I want your day to come before mine. So your day comes on the 1st day of February and mine comes on the 2nd, just as a token of my love for you. And so that's what's happened ever since. So here is Brigid the friend. Now she's helping Mary across a threshold too, if you think about it, from private life and back into public life, you know, from early motherhood and back into the community, back into belonging. And that's what she is for us too. So I wanted to make a few suggestions in case you also want to participate in this festival that is coming, right? So the night before Brigid's Day, you might like to put out some cloth and in the morning, bring it in and share it with friends. Another thing you can do, obviously, is make yourself a cross. If you have rushes, that's wonderful. If you don't, use pipe cleaners if you like. Just enjoy. You can find it's easy. You can experiment doing it. There's a million tutorials on YouTube to help you. Another thing I would suggest for everybody on St. Brigid's Day is eat butter or dairy at the very least. Celebrate if you can, if your diet permits that, or whatever is sort of the butter of life for you. What is savory? Include that. And finally, I just want to say, I'll be teaching you much more about Brigid over the next few weeks because there's so much and because really she's one of my favorites. You might notice, actually, I'm wearing, this is a Beannachtaí, a snowdrop, and that is one of Brigid's, one of the flowers that's associated with Brigid. And if you think, it's really one of the first flowers that comes out in the spring. So I'd also like to suggest, get in touch with a friend. Brigid really is the friend. She's a great friend to Mary, and I think she can be a great friend to us. And I just want to say a word on this. Brigid, we've known about a person, I like to say a kind of thought form, like Brigid, since about the 5th century. You know, that's when we think that a real woman called Brigid may have lived. Now, we're not really sure. There's at least 15 Saint Brigids in those early days. Then we have the whole question of, is she a saint or a goddess? And I'm going to say yes, yes, is the answer to that. We know about her from the 9th century glossary, Sanas Cormac. I'll talk to you more about that another time. Just to say that Brigid has been a part of Irish imagination and life and prayerfulness and reverence for centuries and centuries. Take her for yourself on your own terms, whether that is as a saint in the church or a wonderful influence of renewal, friendship, freshness, the spring. So on that note, I want to ask you this question. You heard in the threshold custom that the people are told to go on their knees, open their eyes, and let in Brigid. What would you like to let in at this season? If you think about it, we are letting in friendship, we're letting in a new season, at least in the Irish traditional calendar, letting in the light, letting in ease, letting in refreshment and renewal. What is that for you? Tell us. I'm letting in. I would love to hear that and cheer you on. And I know everyone here will cheer you on too. So please always like the video. It's so helpful to me. Every week it cheers me so much. thank you in advance for your wonderful comments. I really do think we are building the most loving, intelligent, kind, and generous community on YouTube. And I'm so grateful, and I'm so pleased. And finally, if you haven't, please do subscribe. Again, it's free, and it helps me, and it helps these stories, and it helps the channel. So I will talk to you more about Brigid in the next couple of weeks, but I hope that gets you started thinking, and I hope you have a wonderful week. See you next week.